All right, welcome in. Dawson and New Bear about to go to Cowboys training camp practice in Oxnard, California. And we got quite a bombshell this morning as we wake up New Bear with multiple reports saying the Cowboys' relationship with Micah Parsons has deteriorated to the point where Micah is considering drastic measures, possibly a trade request, or possibly a declaration that he is severing ties and relationship with the team. He's had it, New Bear.
What does that even mean? Like, what are we doing?
You know what it reminds me of is the former Rangers great infielder Michael Young.
Sure.
At one point, I think after 2010 or 2011, he said there's no way, this is irreparable. What it really meant is I'm serious and I want my contract. So right out of the gates here, I think this is negotiating.
Well, so we saw the Terry McLaurin news. I mean, this is potential trade season, right? If you're going to do it, now is the time to plant your flag in the ground about, where you want to be and what you want to get paid. And I just can't stop thinking about the two main factors being years of the deal and guaranteed dollars. Because we saw TJ Watt get more average annual value than Myles Garrett, but Myles Garrett won the total guarantees, right, by about $15 million. So is Micah wanting 3 years and the team wants 4 or 5? And is Micah wanting 130, 150, or all of it guaranteed, and the team is substantially lower?
Yeah, they're substantially lower, and I think he feels disrespected that they won't even engage with his agent, right? If you're a superstar player, you're going to give your agent, what is it, 5%? Is the NFL standard about 5%? So I want my agent to do the work for the money. I don't want the owner to come to me and try to hammer out a deal and put back doors in it and ultimately screw me like they did Tyron Smith 12 years ago.
Well, I mean, through the front door is his brother on Twitter. I mean, there's a lot of people who are weighing in on this, and they're talking about percentages. Right? I really think that he wants to not just reset the market, but he wants to reset NFL contracts. I mean, this might be something where everyone talks about he's not a quarterback, right? Quarterbacks get the most money, they get the most guarantees. But what if he wants it all guaranteed? What if he wants 3 years and 100% guaranteed?
Well, okay, so let me say that. Like, I think most people assume the Cowboys are in the wrong here. But if Micah is looking for a percentage of the future cap, which is just unprecedented, if he's looking for all guaranteed, which would be unprecedented for an edge at his age with 4 or 5 years on a contract, I think now is the time to seriously consider, is Micah Parsons a guy that loves being a Cowboy? Does he want to be a Cowboy? Or is he a mercenary? Is he, and salute to Micah, by the way. I wouldn't have anything personal against him. If he is rising to the miserly Scrooge McDuck levels of Jerry Jones, if you're playing back at him and being just as much of a pain in the butt in negotiating, that's his right as a business. But the Cowboys' right as a team is to try to find guys that match what they're trying to do both on the field and in the locker room. We're trying to install the shoddy culture right now, and I think Micah is letting you know maybe he's not one of the players that fits Shoddy's vision for establishing the culture and team first vibes.
Sure.
There's some superstars like this. I would say about 1 in 8 or 10 are just so selfish, right? And hey, the team has dealt with a number of players like this in the past that get really, really mad during negotiations, and then everything is fine. And I believe that's what we're looking at. I think Micah and Jerry are playing the news cycle. Here we are 2 weeks in. It is so perfect right now as the camp starts to get into its grind. We're in the dog days of camp, officially 2 weeks in. Now it just becomes about waiting for week 1. Bam! Here we go. An absolute nuke into the media cycle. And Micah's very media savvy. Maybe not as media savvy as Jerry, but he does a podcast. Like, Bleacher Report put him as their content director for a reason.
Right.
This guy loves content. He knows content. And I feel like we're being engagement farmed right now, and I love it.
Well, it's impossible to talk about content and not look at the content of the data and the counting stats around Micah Parsons. I mean, we've written over the past months and weeks about how when you talk about where he is in his career and you go sacks, tackles for loss, passes defense, he's one of a handful of guys who has done what he's done to this point in time. And when you look at that and his age, he has got to be looking at this saying, I want a shorter contract to go back into free agency when I'm still in my prime, whether it's here or somewhere else. But when you look at the future cap and you look at these guys, you talk about their savvy. The thing that's so interesting about Micah Parsons is he knows his value, he knows his worth, and he knows it's only going to go up.
Yeah, he does. And you know, if players want to extract maximum value, then they need to get to free agency where there's going to be an open bidding war. And maybe Micah realizes that if he really tries to do that now, he's going to end up on the franchise tag, and the Cowboys are going to make this very frustrating with him. So he's trying to pull the parachute. You know, I think anything is possible right now. We have never seen the Cowboys let a superstar, which is really a star on their TV show, go. So you talk about unprecedented stuff. You know, I think the Cowboys aren't bothered by this at all right now. This is the Cowboys saying we have a high tolerance for ambiguity. Of course, the player wants to get paid, and it's frustrating. But if you want to do a contract with us, then it needs to be a little bit more team friendly.
The math of it's really interesting too, because the first round picks, the rookie deal, in that 5th-year option, they basically double the money they've made in the first 4 years. What he might be looking at is saying he's going to double that for year 6 and beyond, but he might have a chance again in year 9, 10 if he's going to play that long to double it again. Right? This is funny money, and the tag is also about control, right? So when you talk about the tag and being able to do that, and Dak was a maestro of getting that removed from his contract. He didn't just get paid; he also took away the team's power to dictate terms as they move forward in future negotiations. What this really leads into is, if they can't get this done and they're not even close, what might you get for him on the open market?
Oh yeah, I would think right now it'd be a tremendous opportunity to find that out, and I think it starts with 2 1s. You know, unless it's a team that's clearly going to be heading for the NFC title game or at least a deep playoff run, then maybe I want 2 1s and 2 2s or something like that to goose the compensation up a little bit.
Not that McLaurin for Micah even makes sense or is potentially in the realm of I was going to say possibility, but my brain is thinking responsibility, because Schottenheimer and the vibes and the culture and everything that we've witnessed and everything that we are continuing to see that's only building in a momentum-based conversation about George Pickens and beyond, just kind of towing the line and doing what you're asked, whatever that is. What's really fascinating about this is if you're a team, if you're the Detroit Lions, if you're the Washington Commanders, and you think you're one pass rusher, one impact player on defense away, then you go all in on this year, like you're signaling some of the moves that these other teams are trying to make with these guys who are making these demands. And if he were to move from Dallas, does that signal that they're almost punting on 2025?
Okay, final thought here, and we are at the Holiday Inn in Ventura, about ready to head over to the facility and start to get some of the takes, the analysis, maybe some insider reports. I do wonder, as I take this story in, if maybe, as I was interviewing Stephen Jones the other day, he said, you know what, you're right. The agents are, thinking now they have us exactly where they want us, and all they have to do is wait and keep asking for more, and eventually we'll cave. I call Jerry and Steven the cavemen, and they have been the cavemen. But maybe now is the perfect opportunity for them to get back their credibility at the poker table and at the bargaining table, and then on top of that, reset their salary cap a little bit. They can free up the money that would allow them to keep George Pickens. And what the other thing that it would do, they're probably not ready to win the Super Bowl this year. It would give Shoddy kind of an excuse, like, man, he's working magic. He just lost Micah Parsons. So it buys your new coach a little bit of time to build up some goodwill with the organization and a little bit of momentum. So there's a lot to talk about here. New Bear, we're off to practice. We'll be gathering intel. And then we'll be back tonight with a more full and robust report and discussion on this topic. But, since it's breaking this morning, wanted to get it out there. Are the Cowboys and Micah Parsons headed for a divorce? Leave your comments down below. Let's discuss. And I'll be chatting with you soon in the G-Bag Nation. At ease.